Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Here we are. We already did everything in there.
Cool. All right. So checked our documents in our squawks and the baggage compartment here. All right. So our documents are up on the back wall over in the corner there. Registration and airworthiness. Okay. So coming around here, checking our flaps. Right. Make sure that they're connected. Coming on through. All right. We're not going to be moving the ailerons. I'm checking our static wicks here, making sure that our aileron push rod is connected right here. There we go.
Nice, nice.
Coming around the outside, another static wick. Out here, right, we already did a walk around, checked our position lights and our strobes, right, make sure those are working. Taking a look underneath the wing, making sure that there is nothing missing on the bottom side of the wing. Any of the inspection ports, anything like that. Coming around the front. Got our recog light, again, check that on the other walk around. Down the front of the wing, making sure there's no dents.
Nice, nice.
All right, checking the outside of the gear, making sure that we have good tread, making sure the cotter pin's in the tire, and we have our cap on. We have our scupper drain and our fuel vent, making sure those are clear, making sure that our cowl flaps are open as we check in the cockpit. On top here, we are going to check the fuel. All right, so we got our fuel here, fuel cap, dip the tanks, see how much we got in there, make sure we put the cap back in, make sure it's locked and closed. Going over here, we have oil for the right engine. Open that up. All right, we're going to pull that out. Checking our oil capacity on the right engine. Also making sure that on the stick it says right engine.
There we go.
All right, so we don't have the wrong stick and the wrong engine. Making sure we have the correct amount of oil in there, adding if we need to. Closed up. All right, checking our propeller. All right, same thing as always, checking for nicks, seeing if there's any damage to the propeller. Coming around the front, checking the spinner, make sure all of our screws are on the spinner, and in general, screws are all over the fuselage. Inside here, looking at our governor, make sure there's no oil leaking out of the governor. Again, same thing on the other propeller, making sure there's no nicks. Coming underneath.
I won't make you get down again. I can just throw the camera up there.
All right. You can,
Unless you want to. Roll around in the dirt.
as always. So we have our spot switches, down limit switches, up limit switches, J hooks, and over center joint, making sure those are all in the correct positions, and no wire, making sure that our hydraulics are not leaking, and checking the inside of the tire, looking for those brakes, making sure we're not leaking any brake fluid, making sure our oil strut is correctly inflated, and we're all set underneath there, making sure there's nothing in the wheel well to prevent the gear from coming up.
Right.
Checking underneath the nose gear here. Right, looking for our up limit and down limit switches again, making sure that our hydraulic fluid is, our hydraulics for the gear isn't leaking. And our nose tire is in the correct position. Right, we have good tread. Making sure the shimmy dampener is good. So we're all set there.
Looks great.
Sweet. I want you in there. So then we have our exhaust, or our inlet for the heater, making sure that is clear. We have our exhaust for the heater, our battery vent, and our fuel vent for the heater, making sure those are all clear. All right. Coming around here to the nose.
Good.
Checking our ram air inlet, make sure that's also clear. We'll have checked our landing lights on the initial walk around. Right. Coming around the other side, same process, getting under the gear.
Yep.
Checking to make sure that all the same stuff is there. It's all functional, right? For the purposes of the video, we've done it once, right?
Yeah.
Same thing coming around here, except for checking all of this stuff, checking our oil, checking our fuel. Make sure you're not skipping any of that for brevity's sake. Coming around here.
Right.
The difference on this wing, we have three things, right? So underneath, right, we're checking to make sure that we have our OAT probes here. Make sure those are clear and undamaged, right? Then up here, we have our stall warning horns, right? So we have our 25 and 40 and 0 and 10, making sure that partway through they click. There we go, they both activated. And lastly on this side, we have our pitot mast, right? Making sure that we would have tested the pitot heat on the first walk around, making sure that the ram air is unblocked and the sag port on this side is unblocked.
Nice.
And it is in correct condition. All right. Again, coming around the outside, checking all the same stuff, looking at our ailerons, checking our static wicks, not touching them, making sure that the push rod for the aileron is in the correct position.
Nice.
Coming back around here, checking the other flap, same process, checking your push rod there. All good. All right, and then back here we have our cabin air intake, right? That goes in here and up into the cabin, right? Making sure that this is clear. There's no obstructions or anything in there. Coming back through. Checking underneath, make sure that our serial plate is up here, right about there. Somewhere in there. Yep.
Nice.
Checking that our ELT battery drain is clear, right? And not to say it's draining anything.
Yeah.
Coming around, taking a look at the stabilator, making sure there's no visible damage to the stabilator on the leading edge or the back. As we do our walk around, we're also going to check the rudder cables here. Right, so we have our tension on our rudder cables and tension on the rudder trim right there. All right, so continuing the walk around, right, we have our static wicks on the rudder and the stabilator. We're good there. VOR antennas are good. Going around, no damage to the stabilator. This is our rudder trim push rod, making sure that that is attached. Same thing on this side, checking our rudder cables tension. Okay. We have our ELT right there, making sure we don't have any missing screws, as always. Our ELT antenna is probably secured to the airplane. And once we get around to the final bit here, we have our fuel drains, so we can drain and test our fuel for impurities.
Perfect.
There we go.
Thank you, Phil.